Welcome to our exploration of human skeletal muscle biomechanics. Today, we'll dive into how skeletal muscles work together to create coordinated movement in the human body. Understanding muscle function is essential for anyone studying biomechanics, physical therapy, or sports science. We'll focus on two key concepts, active insufficiency and passive insufficiency, which are crucial for understanding the limitations of muscles that cross more than one joint. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear grasp of why these limitations matter and how they affect everyday movements and athletic performance. Let's start by setting the stage for how muscles operate in our bodies. Muscles that cross two or more joints, known as multi-joint muscles, play a vital role in our movement. However, they also come with unique disadvantages. These muscles can't always perform optimally at both joints simultaneously, leading to what we call insufficiencies. The two main types are active insufficiency and passive insufficiency. These terms describe the limitations in muscle length and force production when a muscle is required to operate at both joints at the same time. Understanding these concepts is key for anyone looking to improve movement efficiency or prevent injury. Better understand how these insufficiencies occur, let's take a look at the structure of skeletal muscle. Muscles are made up of bundles of fibers which contract to produce movement. When a muscle crosses more than one joint, its ability to contract or stretch is influenced by the position of both joints. This structural complexity is what leads to the functional limitations we'll discuss. The images here show the intricate arrangement of muscle fibers and their connections to bones, highlighting the importance of muscle architecture in movement. Let's observe how muscles work during movement. When you flex your arm or extend your fingers, multiple muscles and joints are involved. The coordination required for smooth motion is impressive, but it's also where the limitations of multi-joint muscles become apparent. The following images illustrate real-life examples of muscle engagement during various activities, helping us visualize the challenges these muscles face. Active insufficiency occurs when a two-joint muscle cannot shorten enough to produce full range of motion at both joints simultaneously. Imagine trying to make a fist while your wrist is fully flexed. You'll notice it's much harder to squeeze tightly. That's because the muscle fibers are already as short as they can be and can't generate more force. This phenomenon is especially important for athletes and therapists to understand, as it impacts strength and performance in complex movement. Let's look at a practical example of active insufficiency. When you try to squeeze a softball with your wrist fully flexed, your grip strength is noticeably reduced. This happens because the wrist flexor muscles are already maximally short, so they can't contract further to generate a strong grip. This limitation is due to the overlapping of sarcomeres, the basic units of muscle contraction, which prevents further shortening and force production. This image further illustrates active insufficiency in action. Notice how the muscle's ability to contract is limited when both joints are engaged. The diagram highlights the reduced force output and the mechanical disadvantage created by the muscle's shortened length. Understanding this visual can help you recognize why certain positions make it harder to generate strength. Now let's shift to passive insufficiency. This occurs when a two-joint muscle cannot stretch enough to allow full range of motion at both joints at the same time. For example, try flexing your forearm and fingers simultaneously. You'll notice your extensors can't stretch enough to allow both movements fully. Passive insufficiency is a key concept in flexibility training and rehabilitation, as it limits joint mobility and can contribute to muscle tightness or discomfort. Classic example of passive insufficiency is trying to extend your wrist while your fingers are also extended. You'll find that your range of motion is limited because the muscles on the back of your forearm can't stretch far enough to allow both joints to move fully. This is especially noticeable in activities that require flexibility, such as playing the piano or certain sports. Recognizing passive insufficiency helps in designing effective stretching and strengthening routine. This diagram shows passive insufficiency in detail. Notice how the muscle is stretched across both joints but can't lengthen enough to allow full movement. The image highlights the mechanical limitations and the resulting decrease in flexibility. Such visuals are helpful for understanding why certain stretches feel tight or restricted, especially in multi-joint muscles. Let's compare active and passive insufficiency side by side. Active insufficiency is about a muscle not being able to shorten enough, while passive insufficiency is about not being able to stretch enough. Both limit the range of motion but for different reasons. Understanding the difference is crucial for anyone involved in movement science, as it influences exercise selection, injury prevention, and rehabilitation strategies. These concepts aren't just theoretical, they affect our daily activities. Whether you're typing, playing sports, or lifting objects, the limitations of multi-joint muscles come into play. For example, understanding insufficiency can explain why certain positions feel weaker or more restricted. This knowledge can help you adjust your movements for better efficiency and reduced risk of strain. For biomedical engineers, understanding muscle insufficiency is vital when designing prosthetics, orthotics, or rehabilitation devices. These devices must account for the natural limitations of human muscles to ensure comfort and functionality. By considering active and passive insufficiency, engineers can create solutions that support natural movement and reduce the risk of overuse injuries. Beyond prosthetics, knowledge of muscle insufficiency informs the development of robotic limbs and advanced rehabilitation protocols. Engineers and clinicians work together to mimic the natural movement patterns of muscles, ensuring that assistive devices enhance rather than hinder the user's capabilities. This collaboration is at the heart of modern biomedical engineering. Summary: active and passive insufficiency are essential concepts in biomechanics, affecting how our muscles function across multiple joints. Recognizing these limitations helps us understand movement, prevent injuries, and design better assistive devices. Whether you're a student, athlete, or engineer, this knowledge empowers you to make informed decisions about movement and rehabilitation. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the biomechanics of human skeletal muscle.